Where the continent fractures into the icy shores of the Pacific lies a wilderness of staggering brutality and profound beauty. This is the Scenic Mountains. In a freezing Siberian taiga paralyzed by -40 degrees, survival requires absolute silence. Today, we will track the Boreal Phantom. As 5 o'clock in the morning strikes, the pale light of dawn begins to lift the heavy night shadows. The forest is plunged into an intense, muted blue. At this hour, the temperature is at its absolute nadir. Deep within the snowdrifts, beneath the ancient Korean pines, the colossal shape fully stirs. The undisputed apex predator of this realm. To the indigenous Udege people who have walked these forests for millennia, he is Amba, the sovereign spirit of the taiga. It is the Amur Tiger. Weighing over 600 pounds, this magnificent feline is biologically engineered for the cold. In terms of biological accuracy, every single movement is a masterclass in feline endurance, deliberate and meticulously calculated. His massive padded paws act as natural snowshoes, distributing his immense weight across the deep powder snow. In this real-time ecology, burning unnecessary calories is a death sentence. Energy is the only currency that matters. He is currently tracking a massive wild boar foraging in the distance. Down by the frozen riverbanks, the ecosystem's silent gears are at work. Above the valley, on the jagged, frost-covered rock ridges, an incredibly rare Amur leopard navigates the treacherous elevation. It traverses the icy ledges, a solitary ghost in the lifting fog. Deeper in the silver birch thickets, the harsh social dynamics of survival take over. A highly coordinated pack of gray wolves moves relentlessly in a single file line. Look closely at their strategy. The leading alpha plunges forcefully forward, sacrificing his immense physical power to break a trail through the thick powder. By stepping exactly in the footprints of the leader, the rest of the pack drastically reduces their energy output. It is a masterpiece of cooperative survival before the sun even fully breaches the horizon. As the morning progresses towards 7 a.m., the pale gray light reveals the smaller, hardier inhabitants. We often assume that size dictates power in the wild, but true dominance here is about biological engineering. Take this vibrant orange-red fox. She stands motionless in an open meadow, not looking at the snow, but listening through it. Listening intently to the faint scurry of mice deep beneath the snow crust. She dives face first into the powder, a master of the subnivean hunt. There is an entire hidden microclimate functioning right beneath our feet, a vital gear that keeps the entire food web turning.
Nearby, a tufted-eared Eurasian lynx watches silently from atop a massive fallen pine log. This cat is a perfect study in evolutionary adaptation. Its massively oversized padded paws act as natural snowshoes, allowing it to move without sinking. But in nature, every advantage comes at a cost. In stark contrast, a fragile Siberian roe deer struggles desperately, high-stepping through chest-deep snow to aggressively scrape the ice for buried lichen. Its hooves, perfectly designed for summer speed, are now a fatal flaw. Its survival hangs by a tenuous thread, completely dependent on the meager calories hidden beneath the frost. The taiga demands immense physical effort. A muscular, dark-furred wolverine violently excavates a frozen carcass from the ice, relying on sheer brute strength and bone-crushing jaws. And deep in a dark earthen den, a colossal Ussuri brown bear stretches lethargically. It has awoken from its deep winter rest, fighting extreme lethargy to stretch against a pine trunk. Yet, it is the Amur Tiger that dominates the morning patrol. Walking with absolute silent confidence down the center of the vast frozen river, it sniffs fresh scrapes in the hard ice. Its mere presence acts as an invisible wall, paralyzing a Manchurian wapiti hiding in the extreme foreground brush. By mid-morning, the diffused daylight brings a high-energy vitality to the forest. The frozen streams become hunting grounds for the sleek, dark-furred Eurasian otter. Sliding joyfully on its belly across the smooth ice, it dives headfirst into dark, freezing waterholes, emerging triumphant with silver fish. High in the canopy, A striking black woodpecker with a bright red crest clings vertically to a dead pine, drumming violently and loudly, echoing through the valley. Below, a massive, dense herd of wild boars plows through the snowfield like a dark wall. The dominant males violently uproot the snowpack to expose frozen ferns, thick steam pouring from their snouts. Above them all, a massive golden eagle soars majestically without a single flap, riding the brutal subarctic updrafts. It dives at breakneck speed toward the snow-covered ledges, its piercing eyes assessing the valley. The Amur Tiger, too, asserts its dominance, aggressively rubbing its massive cheek against the rough bark of a leaning birch tree, leaving a territorial mark that will strike fear into the hearts of any passing prey. A tiny, incredibly fast sable bounds rapidly across the snow-covered logs, diving headfirst into deep cracks to hunt. A thick-coated raccoon dog scavenges awkwardly along the icy rocks of the stream bed, enduring the harsh freeze to find hidden frozen berries. As the morning pushes toward midday, the gray wolf pack fans out silently across a vast frozen marshland, operating with terrifying military precision. They are a lethal unit, completely synchronized in their pursuit. High on the extreme vertical rocky crags, a strange Siberian musk deer, equipped with long protruding fangs, leaps effortlessly to scrape dark lichen directly off the sheer rock wall, avoiding the chaos below. And high in the massive slanted oak tree, the spectacular Amur leopard drapes its heavy body over a thick branch, slowly closing its pale green eyes, settling into a deep, peaceful rest. The taiga is preparing to hold its breath. The arrival of 11:30 a.m. brings the flat, featureless midday light. A temporary stillness descends across the freezing taiga. In a landscape this unforgiving, thermodynamics rule every decision. It is a time for extreme energy conservation. The colossal Amur Tiger walks slowly into the deep shadows of a dense pine thicket. Watch how he intelligently tamps down the powder, packing it tightly to create a warm, insulated bed before lowering his immense body to rest. Midday, the tiger's massive paws act as natural snowshoes. The phantom floats above the powder, reserving his lethal energy. Even the open, snowy forest floor harbors hidden resters. Nature has engineered brilliant thermal solutions. A plump hazel grouse, entirely buried up to its neck in a snow cave, sinks its head back down. It disappears completely into the frozen earth. By using the snow itself as a blanket, it maximizes its thermal insulation against the sub-zero wind. The gray wolf pack, too, sleeps deeply. Scattered across the flat marshland, they are curled into tight, perfect thermal balls. The dominant alpha remains tightly curled, while a thick layer of fresh white snow continuously buries its gray fur. This is a precise survival tactic. By tucking their vulnerable noses deep beneath their thick, bushy tails, they create a microenvironment, pre-warming the freezing air before breathing it into their lungs. Under a sheer rock overhang, the Eurasian lynx lies completely flat on dry stone, methodically grooming the stubborn ice chunks from between its insulated toe pads. Out in the exposed meadow, the vibrant red fox sleeps curled perfectly atop a massive, snow-covered tree stump. By staying elevated, she avoids the deepest, freezing drafts pooling on the ground, wrapping her thick tail over her nose to block the brutal wind. High above the tree line, sprawled flat on a severely wind-blasted boulder, the muscular wolverine rests its heavy chin on the freezing stone, its incredibly thick teeth revealed in a tired and deep inside the pitch-black, dry cavity of a massive ancient elm tree, the Blakiston's fish owl fluffs its incredibly dense plumage outward, dissolving safely into the dark shadows. The Amur leopard, hidden deep inside an impenetrable thicket of drooping Siberian cedar branches, rests elegantly across a thick, snow-covered branch, its stunning spotted coat blending perfectly with the dark shadows. Even the colossal Ussuri brown bear finds respite, sitting heavily against the frozen dirt wall of a gigantic overturned tree root ball, letting its massive head loll sideways in crushing winter fatigue. For 3 hours, the taiga holds its breath. The silence is profound, broken only by the continuous howling of the subarctic winds. But the peace is fleeting. At 14:30 p.m., the light begins to shift. The afternoon soft light introduces fading, diffused warmth, triggering a profound change in the predator's circadian rhythms. They stir. The colossal Amur Tiger slowly lifts its massive head from its paws within the deep pine thicket. It opens its jaws impossibly wide into a terrifying yawn, releasing a massive cloud of steam before stretching its front legs and digging its huge claws into the packed snow. Stepping silently out onto a snow-covered forest path, it resumes its lethal patrol. The ecosystem wakes in lethal synchronization. The Amur leopard, waking from its slumber in the oak tree, effortlessly rotates its body to climb head first down the sheer vertical trunk, landing completely silently into the deep powder snow. It intensely scans the brush, its ears swiveling like radar dishes, acting as a highly calibrated auditory system, pinpointing acoustic anomalies under the frozen crust. The red fox, trotting rapidly across the expansive flat meadow, executes a flawless subnivean hunting pounce, leaping high into the air to smash face first into the deep powder, emerging with a tiny meadow vole securely in its jaws. As the daylight fades into the cold, creeping shadows, the Eurasian lynx descends a terrifyingly steep, frost-covered cliff face. Its massive paws keep it from sinking as it isolates the sound of distant prey. On the vast frozen marshland, the gray wolf pack simultaneously uncurls from their snow-covered beds. The dominant alpha tilts its head up and unleashes a powerful, echoing howl, rallying the pack for the evening hunt. They run at a full, terrifying sprint across the dark blue frozen marshland in a perfect tactical wedge, their powerful shoulders rising and falling in lethal synchronization. The Eurasian otter, galloping clumsily over jagged ice slabs, slides rapidly on its belly down a smooth ice chute directly into the open black water, retreating to the aquatic world. Below, the colossal wild boar violently smashes its massive front hooves down onto a solid sheet of frozen mud, driving its scarred snout into the shattered ice hole to tear out frozen tubers. The wolverine, galloping tirelessly across the darkening valley floor, aggressively sniffs a blood-stained patch of snow before climbing a dead pine trunk to bare its massive yellow teeth in a silent snarl toward the dark tree line. The sanctuary of the day has ended. The approach of twilight brings an unbearable tension. The Amur Tiger crouches incredibly low to the snow, creeping forward with terrifying, slow-motion silence. It shifts its massive weight entirely to its back legs, coiling its immense muscular frame. The Blackiston's fish owl steps out from its hollow cavity, stretching its massive wings fully outward before dropping into a perfectly silent, descending glide.
The Amur leopard stands completely still as a breathtaking dark silhouette against the muted orange twilight sky, aggressively washing its dark face before slinking down into the valley shadows. The gray wolf pack continues its terrifying pursuit, executing their deadly evening hunt across the dark blue marshland. A Manchurian wapiti herd, huddling tightly in the deep blue shadows of the birch thicket, is filled with immense anxiety. The colossal alpha male thrashes its antlers violently, exhaling a massive cloud of steam into the dark sky, its eyes wide with sheer terror. The wolverine, seeking a safe haven for the deadly night, climbs powerfully up the rocky outcropping, squeezing its thick body backward into a dark crevice. The Eurasian otter swims rapidly beneath the clear ice, exhaling a stream of silver bubbles that flatten against the crust. The red fox walks slowly along the dark pine forest edge, slipping gracefully into a deep earthen burrow. The stage is set.
At 18:30 p.m., the icy blue twilight deepens into breathtaking silhouettes. The colossal Amur Tiger slides its massive body entirely behind an enormous frost-covered fallen pine log with completely silent fluidity. It flattens its entire massive body completely against the packed snow, rendering itself entirely invisible. In a display of extreme dramatic irony, a colossal wild boar roots aggressively directly in front of the log. It is chewing incredibly loudly, completely ignorant of the lethal danger just inches away. Suddenly, the boar's nostrils flare widely. It catches a terrifying, unfamiliar scent on the freezing wind. And then, the ultimate payoff. The climax of survival. Rising in terrifying slow motion from behind the frost-covered log, only the tiger's glowing amber eyes and flattened ears are visible in the twilight ambush. With explosive power, the colossal Amur Tiger violently launches its entire massive, muscular body straight up and over the heavy pine log in an explosion of white powder snow. Suspending perfectly mid-air, it extends its terrifyingly huge front paws, opening its incredibly massive, bone-crushing jaws to their absolute maximum limit. The day is done. The phantom reclaims the night. However, my recent field observations reveal a subtle fracturing of these ancient hunting mechanics. Unseasonal temperature spikes now frequently melt the surface of the deep powder snow during the day. As night falls, it refreezes into a jagged, razor-sharp crust of solid ice. This unnatural glass-like layer actively slices through the insulated, padded paws of predators, breaking the silent approach they rely on. The biological clock of the taiga is being forcibly disrupted by atmospheric shifts, and this ecosystem is struggling to rewrite its own rules in real time.